I am Darcy, I am perfection. Like, seriously, has this guy ever read The Book Thief? Well, probably not, because it was the 1940s. Why am I here? Hi and hello, it's Kristin from Kristin and Her Books. Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. And today I am excited to be doing the second installment of a new weekly series on my channel called Cover Changes Through the Ages. So as you can probably see from the title below, in this video we are going to be looking at the one and the only Pride and Prejudice and how that cover has changed through time. So I have about 15 different covers that we're going to look at, starting from the very first edition, very first printing of the book, going all the way up to 2019, and we'll just get to see how they changed. So without further ado, let's hop into it. And the theme of this video is peacock feathers, because for some reason, that is what we automatically attach to Pride and Prejudice. I'm not really sure why, but believe me, you're going to see those everywhere. Well, actually, I guess it has to do with the fact that peacocks are considered to be a kind of prideful bird, so I can see how that would evolve onto the pages of Pride and Prejudice. Anyways, let us begin. In 1813, whenever the world was blessed with Pride and Prejudice, and this is the cover that it was first printed in. I wasn't able to get a good look on the front of the cover, but you can see the side and the beginning paper here, and from what I can think, it was just a plain brown hardback. So it wasn't exactly swoon worthy, but it was important, wasn't it? The first time that anyone got to hold the story in their hands, and I love that. And then we move on to the third edition in 1817. Now I can't tell if this is dirt smudge or just the design, but it kind of resembles a little bit of a peacock feather in my opinion, with this bluish, yellowish, marble-ish type of thing going on. Maybe you agree. And then about 80 years later, something really awesome happens and we get the iconic 1894, the Hugh Thomas original first peacock edition. And this is when we start seeing the real emergence of the peacock in all of its glory. So let's just look and swoon. And many of you have probably actually seen this cover because it's gone through a bit of a reprint and also appears on a lot of Pride and Prejudice merchandise. I'll show you the reprinted edition later because you can actually get your hands on a copy of this book that looks the same way. But yes, I just completely live for these gold-plated feathers and everything about it. So this is one of my favorites that we're going to be looking at today. Then we get into what I could only find referred to as circa 1900. This is the Gresham UK edition of Pride and Prejudice, so let's take a look. And it's kind of like an early modernist minimalist approach to the peacock feather design. Honestly, this one makes me look uncomfortable. These peacock feathers do not particularly look like peacock feathers, but I guess they tried. Moving on to the 1913 edition by Castle UK. This one has a very vintagey type of feeling, still a little kind of antique, with maybe their interpretation of Darcy and Elizabeth on the front, and then the little patterned box and circle design. Also, you can see in the middle here, there's like one of the old illustrations, and I love how Darcy looks so smug. His nose in the air. I am Darcy, I am perfection. That sounded even more creepy because my throat is going through things. Next we have the Pride and Prejudice Cardinal edition by Pocket Books from 1940. So moving our way up through the 1900s, we see a little bit more of a kind of traditional cover style going on, meaning that we have an illustration and the title in big old letters. I like how this one says one of the few great novels. I mean, maybe in the 1940s we could say that, I don't know. And while it is one of the best novels of all time, I have read quite a few great novels, so I beg to differ. Like, seriously. Has this guy ever read The Book Thief? Well, Probably not, because it was the 1940s. Next, we have a slightly uncomfortable 1960s paperback signet edition featuring the peacock again, and also a woman with a very pointy nose. Honestly, I get a little bit of Picasso vibes from this, and I'm not quite sure where the lock comes from. You might need to refresh my memory in the comments below, but I kind of like it in like a weirdish retro type of way. Then we move on to 1985, where we have the Great Illustrated Classics Dodd, Med and Company hardcover, first edition. This one is just kind of old looking, but I appreciate the spiral around the title, as well as the little, perhaps, Pemberley in the background. Then in 2000, we get the Modern Library Classics edition. This is one that I've actually seen a few people own. Well, it's not the copy that I have. This one kind of speaks of all of the traditional covers. And then in 2004, we got the Barnes & Noble Classic Series paperback of Pride and Prejudice. This is one that I own. It's one that probably many people own, and it's simple in that Barnes & Noble way. Also, the faces are like based off of artwork, I think, and sometimes make me uncomfortable. Like, if that's supposed to be Elizabeth, she also has a case of RBF. And I think most of these people on these Barnes & Noble covers have this RBF face. Just like, why am I here? And now we get into some of the newer editions. Some of these I'm sure that you've seen. We are going to start off first with the 2010 White's Fine edition. I love this one. It's like they're at a ball or something, and just kind of their dresses and then these little flower details. I think that's gorgeous. I'm a sucker for blue, so yeah, I really like this one. In 2011, we got the Barnes & Noble single volume leather-bound classic. Not a huge fan, but I like the little detailing. It's pretty. Oh, and then in 2012, we got the Mr. Boddington Anthropology exclusive, and this one I love. I love these Mr. Boddington like anthropology covers. I love how they make the book just look more modern and kind of fun. This one looks like, honestly, it looks like it's kind of been sprinkled with some green and yellow confetti and has that more modern text in the center, which I think just gives a new, fresh life to the book. I wish that I owned this one. I actually looked into buying one, but I don't think they make them anymore, so that was kind of a bummer. Then in 2013, there was the Peacock edition that we saw back from the end of the 1800s that became revived by CreateSpace. So basically they just took that old cover and now you can get it on a book from Amazon. I think it's paperback, but still, the sentiment is the same, and the peacock feathers are definitely still present. Of course, this would not be a cover changes through the ages video without mentioning the 2014 Vintage Classics Austen series. I think this one is cute. It has the modern font in the middle, as well as this cute little chevron pink pattern. It doesn't really express anything about the spirit of the book, but it does embody some kind of modern feel, which is fun, but not my favorite. But this one is so cute. This is the 2017 Little Bee Books Seek and Find Classics. So it is an abridged version because it's for children, and I can't imagine a 7-year-old sitting down with Pride and Prejudice and reading the whole thing. But the way that it has been designed is absolutely swoon-worthy. So we've got this adorable cover with a silhouette of what I can assume is Jane and Darcy, as well as little emblems that relate to the story. We've got tea and a little fan, a bonnet, and then page inserts that kind of explain more of what's going on in pictures, like this one picture I found that shows the Meryton Assembly and who all is there and what it would look like. And I want this edition for my shelves because I love all the pictures, and unfortunately I feel like unless you're looking in a children's edition of a classic, you don't find enough colorful, beautiful illustrations. And then to kind of wind us down with the different cover changes through the ages, we are now into 2018, and I found a puffin-plated Pride and Prejudice full book with tea time recipes by Martha Stewart. So while you are reading Pride and Prejudice with this cute light blue cover, you will also find Martha Stewart recipes inspired by Jane Austen, little scone things, different things that you can do to spice up your tea parties if you're having those for some reason. And I just thought the cover was really cute. And then, of course, we have the beloved Thomas Nelson season editions. This is the winter one. It came out in December 2019. So the Thomas Nelson seasons editions are gorgeous. They're basically only doing 10,000 prints of this edition of book, and the white part that you see on the front is a laser cut design that goes on top of the book. So the white part you can remove, and underneath it it's just blue, and it's so pretty. They're all sold out, of course, because this came out just in December, but we can look at it, can't we, and swoon and wish that we had it. And maybe cross our fingers for a reprint that won't be hella expensive. Just looking at these covers makes me kind of want to revisit the world of Pride and Prejudice and walk Pemberley with Darcy and sit down for tea with Jane, and oh, I love that world. And I want all of the book covers from that world. But anyways, there you have it. That is the cover changes through the ages for Pride and Prejudice, starting from the very first print all the way to December of this past year. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. In the comments below, let me know which one of these editions was your favorite, or if you have one of these, or if there's one that I missed that you really like too, let me know, because I would love to check that out. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. All right, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.